Hey everyone, today I have a total body 25-minute low impact workout for you. It uses the same structure I've been posting a bunch of, that 30 seconds per move. You do all the moves back to back, then you rest. It's low impact, which means no jumping, which means it is also quiet, so if you have downstairs neighbors, this is a good choice. It's broken up into 3 circuits. In each circuit, I'm gonna give you 3 exercises. You go through them 4 times total. So it's 90 seconds of work, all 3 moves for 30 seconds back to back. You then rest for 30 seconds before repeating. There will be some unilateral work in each of the circuits, so we'll alternate right, left, right, left. In between each circuit, I'm going to give you a full 60 seconds to recover. While you catch your breath and recover, I will be showing you a preview of the next 3 exercises. For equipment, you are just going to need a resistance band loop. Now, as far as how heavy it should be, for the first circuit, you can go pretty heavy. It's going to be around our thighs. I actually wish that mine was a little heavier for that one. For the second circuit and the third, though, you do want to, oh, hi, Pickles. For the second and third circuit, you do want to be able to get a slightly bigger range of motion because we'll have the band in our hands and also under one foot. So for those, I would go medium, even kind of on the light side. As with all workouts, you want to make sure you're properly warmed up beforehand and always listen to your body, modifying or stopping as needed. Great way to modify all these, just use a lighter resistance band. I will also verbally give you modifications as we go. And if you're looking for a warm-up, I have a few on my channel that are linked to below in this video description. If you're new to my channel, I don't play music in the background because I want you to be able to listen to whatever you like. So if you don't have a playlist or podcast or TV show queued up, you might want to get that going. And with all that said, let's get to a preview of our first 3 exercises. Okay, so for this first circuit, you're gonna have the band around your thighs, a couple inches above your knees. You're gonna mirror me, and we'll start with the right leg as the focus. So you're gonna balance on your right leg, and we're gonna do a little straight leg abduction on that left side. So you'll just press your left leg out a few inches. And then you're gonna go into a very small, shallow squat on that right side. So this is not about speed. This is about balance and stability. Don't worry about how many reps you get in. Pay attention to that right foot. You are grounding down through it. Don't collapse into your arch, but press your big toe into the floor. Now hold low on that right side, and you're going to do a little tap to the side and then back at a slight angle. So think side lunge and then kind of a back lunge, but it's kind of back at a 45-degree angle. We're holding low on that right side. And we have a little speed in this one, so tap back, tap wide. Now, as the resistance on that band increases when you push your left leg out, make sure your right knee isn't buckling inward, it tracks straight ahead. Holding a low squat position, you're going to give me 2 steps to one side, and then you're going to come up into a calf raise. Don't lift the heels so high that your ankles lock out and you roll to the outsides of them. You want to think stable ankle joint here. 2 low steps, drive it up. Now, if you want to make these harder, you could give me a squat jump if you want to add in some jumping here. So it'd be 2 steps and then a squat jump. 2 steps and a squat jump, up to you. Okay, you have 30 seconds to rest. We're going to repeat that sequence on the left side. So especially with the first exercise here, and then we will see it again in circuit number 2, we got a big focus on balance and stability in this 25-minute workout today. Is it going to be the sweatiest workout of mine you do? Probably not, but it's going to be challenging in that different way. Let's get ready for that standing side abduction. With that right leg now, kicks out and in, balancing on our left side, and then that shallow little mini squat down on the left. So when you do that mini squat, your right leg is kind of sweeping behind you as if you were going to go into a little curtsy lunge. We have that hip hinge, so your hips shift back, little bend to that left knee, and then we come back up with control.
At the beeps, you're going to hold that low position on your left side, and the right leg will press side and then back at a 45-degree angle, little lunge taps here. Notice I'm pumping my arms as that leg moves back and side. So we're not so much focused on the moving leg, we're focusing on that stationary side. Left knee is tracking in line with those middle left toes. Two low side steps in a squat, and then we come up into that little calf raise. When you come into the calf raise, hips slide forward, squeeze into your glutes. Option to make this a squat jump if you want it to be harder and add in a little impact. "30 seconds to rest." We are halfway through with this first circuit. We're going to repeat it once more on each side. So start shifting weight into that right leg. The left leg will kick out in that abduction, and then we'll go into that baby squat on our right side. If you're having trouble balance, you could always put your hand on a chair or a wall for support. Also, staring at a still place on the floor can help. All right, hold low on that right side. We have those little lunge taps. Your left leg goes straight to the side and then straight back at a 45-degree angle. With your torso, you're hinging forward, so your shoulders are stacked over that front knee. Open across those collarbones. Let's go into that side step. 2 low steps to the side. Come up into that little calf raise. "30 seconds to rest." Okay, one more time through this. Left leg will be the focus, and then we will get new exercises. All right, you're going to start shifting weight into your left foot. Ground down through the foot. Right foot is flexed so you can give me that little lift, straight leg to the side, and then right leg kind of sweeps back. Woo, I'm wobbling as you do that little baby squat on the left side. When you do that squat, hips slide back. Hold low on that left side. Right leg taps side, back at an angle, side, back at an angle. Final 30 seconds, 2 side steps. Come up out of that squat, give me a little calf raise, sink right back down, 2 side steps, other side. You got it. And done, you have 60 seconds to recover. I'm going to show you our next 3 exercises. All right, so for the second circuit, you're going to have the resistance band under one foot, and then you're going to hold it with the opposite hand. So I want you to put it under your right foot. Left hand is going to grab it. We're going to do a staggered deadlift with a row. So take your left foot and plant it lightly on the floor, like 6 inches behind your right foot. Deadlift hinge. Give me a row on that left elbow at the bottom, and then come forward. All right, now what is creating the deadlift movement? It is your hips sliding back, and then your hips drawing forward as you squeeze into the glutes. Now we're going to build off of this exercise in the next one, and we're going to add in an element of instability, taking that left foot off the floor and finding a deadlift balance position. So first and foremost, just find that balance position. There is a soft bend to your right knee. Don't lock it out. Now you're going to row that left elbow as your left leg kicks up, and then the left toes tap the floor as you release that row. So you kick and row, lower down. Your hips are square to the floor, so that left hip is drawing down in line with the right. Long neutral spine, so when you do that row, I don't want you sinking into the low back. We're going to ditch the band at the beeps. Just let it flop on the floor under your foot. You're going to sink into a low lunge, and then as you come up, your left knee comes into your chest and you twist to the left. So you twist in the direction of the knee that is lifting up. So a little bit of balance challenge here. Don't rush this one. As you stand, I want you to think of grounding down through your right foot, squeezing your right side seat. The rotation does not have to be big, okay? And you have 30 seconds to rest. So we'll go through that 3 times, alternating sides. So we'll start in a pretty stable exercise and then go into challenging that stability and balance. Band is under your left foot, grab it in your right hand. Right foot is staggered behind you. You're going to hinge down, give me a row with that right elbow, and then hips drive forward, squeeze into your seat. There is not a lot of weight in your right foot, okay? So the ball of the foot, the toes, just lightly on the ground for balance support. When you hear those beeps in a few seconds, we're going to come into that balanced position in our deadlift hinge. Your right leg is long. Don't lock out your left knee. Find the position, then as that back leg kicks up, you row on the right side. So right elbow, right leg, kick up and lower down. Now, I know you can't look at the screen without losing balance, so I'm just going to tell you what's going on. As I kick my right leg up, I'm noticing that my knee is bending. That's a sign that I am dominating with my hamstring instead of having the lift come from my glutes. So I want you to think of reaching your right leg really long and squeezing into the base of the seat. Whoop, low lunge position. You're going to come up and do that knee drive with the torso twist. We'll come back to that on the next side. So when you sink down into this lunge, I do want you to get as low as possible. So I am bringing my back knee to lightly tap the floor, and then I'm coming up to stand from there. Again, don't worry about making this a huge twist because I really want the twist to come from your thoracic spine through the rib cage area. I don't want you opening up through the hips. Okay, 30 seconds to shake it out. We're at the halfway point. We're going to do it one more time. So the band is going to go under your right foot and you're going to grab it in your left hand. Left foot is slightly on the floor, few inches behind the right. Deadlift and give me a row with that left elbow at the bottom, starting stable, and then we will build off of this. And when we get to that second move, we'll come back to what I was talking about in the previous round. When you hear those beeps, let's come into that hinge position to start. Soft bend to your right knee, don't lock it out. Left leg extends long. Left leg is going to tap and lift. So this is a big stability challenge for that right leg, but we're going to shift our attention to the left leg for a second. The lift is coming from your glutes. So I want you to think of squeezing into the seat and reaching long through those back toes. Yes, you are going to feel your hamstrings working. This is a movement for the posterior side, but I don't want the hamstring taking over. Your left knee shouldn't bend at the top of the kick. Release the band, you're in a low lunge. Ground down through that right foot, bring the left knee into your chest. As you do, tight twist over to the left. And rest 30 seconds. To shake it out, we're going to go through that one final time. Band is going under your left foot. Right foot is staggered behind it. Right hand grips the band. Deadlift with a row, last time. The movement is initiated by the hips hinging. Slide the hips back. Spine stays neutral and long, so we're not rounding forward through the shoulders. You're brought across those collarbones. Let's find that balanced position now. Reach that right leg long. Energize through the right leg. So yes, this is primarily for a challenge for your left stationary side, but I want you to think of energizing long through that right leg. Kick up, squeezing into the right side seat. Release the band, it can stay under your foot. You're in a low kneeling lunge. As you come up, you're driving that back right knee in towards your chest and you're twisting over it. Now you twist, but you keep your hips pointing straight forward. So the twist is coming through that rib cage area. Exhale, twist. Lower down with control. All right, you have 60 seconds to recover. I'm going to show you our final 3 exercises. It'll be more of an upper body core focus. So we're going to start in a plank position, and I want you to have the band planted under your left hand. So your left hand is going to be flat on the ground. It's going to stay on the ground. And then you're going to grip it in your right fist, and we're going to row on the right arm. So in your plank position, give me a renegade row. And then you're going to drop open into a left side plank as you row that right elbow up towards the ceiling. So you're mirroring me. That's just why I had you reverse your hands from me. So when you do the renegade row, we're focusing on keeping the hips square to the ground. And then when you do that side plank row, elbow up to the ceiling as you drop your heels, rolling onto the razor edges of your feet. Now we won't need the band for the next one. You'll just let it kind of flop on the ground where it is, and you're going to come onto that left forearm. Boom, you're in a side plank. And your feet are still staggered, so that top right foot is in front of the left. So we're going to reach the arm overhead as we lift our hips up, and then you're going to pull that elbow in towards your hip as you lower the hips down towards the floor. Now, this is an exercise for our obliques, yes. It is also a huge challenge for our shoulders. I don't want you to sink into that bottom left shoulder. I want you to think of pushing the floor away, long through the neck. Get ready to grab the band again. Grab it in both hands, and we're going to come into a boat pose position. You're balancing just behind your sits bones. You're going to pull apart on the band twice, and then holding tension on it, you're going to extend out into a low boat pose and then crunch back up to the top. So it's 2 pulls of the band, lower to a hover, and then crunch back up. Again, when you crunch up, you're balancing just behind the sits bones, so you're not right on your butt. "30 seconds to rest. So we'll do that same thing on the other side. So the band is going to be under your right palm, and your right palm will stay down on the floor. The row is going to happen on your left side. And in this plank position, you can have your feet a little wider than you might normally in a plank so that our hips stay level and so that we have a nice sturdy base when we rotate open into the side plank position. So you'll notice when I'm transferring between the two, I'm just bringing my knuckles down to the floor on that left side like a fist. Square hips when you're centered to the floor, and then open back up. Lower onto your right forearm. You're in a right side plank. Left foot is staggered in front of the right. Side plank reaches, hips lower, and then hips lift up as you reach that arm overhead. You are long through that side body. Pull it in. Your hips can touch the floor. I don't want you to rest them down on the ground, but if you have that range of motion accessible, then absolutely, it's fine for the hips to touch the floor. Now, without actually moving your right elbow, I want you to think of pulling it closer towards your feet so that we're really active through the lats, that area under our armpits. Grab your band. We have that boat pose crunch with the 2 pulls on the band. So when you do the crunch, when you extend out to that low hover and then come back up, the band is not loose. There is tension on it. Make sure you're not jamming your chin down to your chest when you go low. And you're at the halfway mark, 30 seconds to rest. So we're going to do that one more time, each side. If you need longer to recover for the shoulders, now would be a good time to pause the video. Maybe you take an extra 30 seconds or so. Otherwise, we will be back to pinning the band under our left hand. Right arm is going to be doing the rows. Renegade row, and then side plank row. So that left stationary arm, make sure you don't lock out through the elbow completely, okay? So there's a little softness to it, and you're pushing the ground away, staying strong within that shoulder joint. Mirror me, you're down on your left forearm for that side plank reach. Now, if these get to be too much, you can have your knees down, okay? So that left knee would be on the ground. You would still lift and lower through the hips. Make sure you're not rolling open through the hips, so you might need to take that top right hip bone and pull it towards the screen. Grab the band. You're in that boat pose position, balancing just behind the sits bones. We pull apart on the band twice, and then holding resistance on it, you extend long and crunch back up. And rest. All right, one final time. So you have 90 seconds of work to go, and then you are done with this workout. We will row with our left arm. The band is going to be pinned to the floor under your right palm. Find that plank position. Row without moving the hips, and then roll open into that side plank. So your legs are energized in this. When you are in that plank, you are thinking of activating through the quads as if you could lift the quads off the kneecaps and gently squeezing through your glutes. Mirror me, come down onto that right forearm. You're in your side plank position for those reaches, hips lower, and as they lift up, that arm reaches overhead, getting long through that side body. Don't collapse into that bottom shoulder. Push the ground away. Final 30 seconds, grab your band in your hands, boat pose, crunch, 2 pulls on the band at the top. Final few seconds here. And done. Awesome job.
Hope you enjoyed that workout. If you did, give this video a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to my channel. I post new workouts here every Monday, sometimes more frequently, so be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. I'll see you next week.